Happy Friday. It is November 14th and time for the late edition of this week's Friday Funnies. Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know what has gone up and down more this week, the stock market or my blood pressure, just watching the stock market. If this trend continues, I think everybody on my Christmas list is going to receive Maalox and Valium just so that they can make it through to the new year. And just so that you can make it through to the weekend, here's this week's Friday Funnies. Well, President-elect Obama has promised us change that we can believe in. But a man up in East Patachokyu, New York, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation or not. This is how it's spelled right here. East Patachokyu, that's what I'm going to call it. Anyhow, a guy up there has wound up this week completely changeless. Two burglars broke into his home at about 2 o'clock in the morning and stole the man's money. Now, since the gentleman that lived here didn't really trust the stock markets either, he kept his life savings in the form of loose change in a giant jug on the floor of his bedroom. Well, these guys came in and took his life savings, carted the whole jug full of coins away, and they got away with it. But later they had to use the money to pay for the double hernias they got by carrying this big jug of coins. Here's a wake-up call to end all wake-up calls down in Largo, Florida. A prisoner down there, or a soon-to-be prisoner, he was waiting in the intake section before they processed him, made him a real live inmate. Anyhow, he fell asleep on the floor. A deputy thought he would wake him up in a unique manner by firing his taser. Now, he didn't fire the taser at the guy. He didn't hit him. He was just hoping that the crackling sound the weapon made would wake the man up. Well, it didn't. He slept right through it. And now the deputy is facing a 15-day suspension for using his taser in an improper manner. After the suspension, he will receive a course showing him the proper wake-up techniques for prisoners using a cattle prod. In Schererville, Indiana, which is not too far from where I am right now, well, I mean, it's kind of far, but it's closer than where I am to you right now. In Schererville, Indiana this week, a woman got arrested for drunk driving. She had her 1-year-old son in the car with her at the time, so the police took her down to the police station, they locked her up, and they called her husband to come and pick up the boy. Well, the husband showed up at the police station, and he was drunk too. So they locked him up. And then they had to call the grandparents to come and pick up the 1-year-old. And guess what? They showed up half in the bag too. Now, I don't know how the kid ever made it home. Maybe they just let him drive. But here's a lesson to keep in mind with the holidays soon approaching. The family that drinks together goes to the clink together. Thank you. All right. Justin Lukey up in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, yeah, hey there, he also suffered a burglary. Somebody broke into his home, so he called the police to investigate. Well, when the police arrived, the first thing they noticed were sitting on the coffee table was Justin's pot pipe and some marijuana and a scale and some seeds and stems, and the cop said, we'll be right back. And they returned with a search warrant and then arrested Justin for possession with intent to distribute. And as they were taking him away, he was quoted as saying, "Oh man, thank God they didn't look in the closet." Again, thanks. All right, finally, to paraphrase the words of the late great Johnny Cochran, if the man's too obese, you got to give him his release. Thank you very much. It was a lovely impression, I agree. Anyhow, up in Canada this week, in a Canadian prison, a prisoner by the name of Big Mike was given an early parole this week. Big Mike is 430 pounds, and the prison could no longer accommodate him. They said they just couldn't squeeze him in, and when they said that, they meant into his cell. He had really gotten to be quite the large man. So he had done 25 months of his sentence. They let him out on early parole, and he said it was the prison food that caused him to gain all of that weight. Prison authorities, however, are investigating into the coincidental disappearance of all of Big Mike's cellmates, one at a time. Hey, that's all I have for you this week. Remember, it's only 13 days until Thanksgiving, so have your pants let out now for extra eating comfort. I'll see you next week.